Hey guys, so it's a nice rainy day outside, and I wanted to show you guys a lock that is becoming more popular with the short-term rentals. It's the Signstek YL-99 electronic doorknob. So this is a lock that I've come across about 12 times now in the last month. So I wanted to show you guys because you're probably going to start coming across this. It's very commonly sold on Amazon. It's around 50 US dollars. And I've had some locksmiths and forums ask me about this. They've got called to it and didn't know what to do. So I want to kind of show you guys exactly how this works, how it's set up. If you bought one of these and you don't know how to program it, I'll walk you through it so you don't need all the, crazy pages of instructions. So right out of the box, I mean, if we look around, it doesn't really give you too much. It tells you the model I bought is the oil rubbed bronze. It comes in gold, gray, and silver. And it just shows you the adjustable back set and the dimensions. So we're going to go ahead and open this guy up. Get rid of the foam here. And inside, we have the inner knob. This is actually the battery pack as well. We'll set him aside for a moment. We have the battery override. So this is important. This is probably the best thing if you come across one or you purchase one. Hang on to this. If you're a locksmith, if you can grab something like this for these, it's gonna come in handy. We'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, we'll go ahead and pull out the actual lock itself, and the rest is just hardware, very common hardware to put this thing together. So it will come assembled just like this. I've already backed out the screws a little bit to make the video a little bit simpler. When you receive this, one of the emails I got didn't know how to take it apart. A lot of times you commonly try to look for a detent, but this doesn't have one. This knob actually doesn't come off. Instead, if you look straight down through, you will see a couple of screws, and you are going to take your screwdriver, put them straight through, and back them out. This is how you will disassemble the lock. So once you've got your screws backed out, we'll go ahead and just keep them somewhere safe. This end of the knob will slide off first, and you want to be very careful because if you snag this wire, and it will catch, that little plastic piece will catch on this inner ring, you could actually pull the wires and damage the lock. So you want to just kind of guide it with your finger a little bit and slide him out. We'll set him aside for a moment. It's the same thing. We're going to take off the latch, carefully going around that wire. It does, as you can see, it does like the catch. Like right there, if I try to pull, if I pull too hard, it'll rip that little cap off. So you want to just be very careful. Set him aside, and now you have your lock taken apart. Now from here, we're going to go back to this original, this is the inner knob. So this is the side that you're going to use on the inside of the bedroom to get out. This is the front to allow you to get in. So if we look at him, it says Signstek right here. This piece is actually just a ring that comes off. It's very thin and fragile, so make sure you set him somewhere he's not going to get damaged. And inside is the battery pack. Now, it doesn't just like to pull out because it's almost exactly the right size, like on point. For a made in China lock from Amazon, it's actually a pretty quality, it's pretty nicely built. And a lot of times these come loose and they'll just fall out if you turn them over. This thing is in there. So it's always best for me, all the ones I've worked on, I kind of grab right here where it's kind of indented, and it allows me to kind of wiggle it and pop him out. He just rests in there, but he's so snug, he doesn't move. So from here, these are the little areas where you're going to put your battery. So it takes 4 AAA batteries. All you do is you slide forward, and these are kind of funny because you can't really get your finger in there. If you press on this end here, you kind of lift it up just enough to, just like that, just enough to pop him back out, and you have your batteries. Then you just slide him back in. There's 2 slots, if you can see them, for the teeth. They go in and then just midway come back. Same thing on the other side. Once you've done that, you just take your knob, put him, make sure that you line up the hole here to the hole right there, up and down. Once he's in there, like I said, he's so snug it's hard to twist. So it's always best to try and line him up as best you can before you fully seat him in. And then you just press in, take your ring, and just put him right back on. And from here, we can just set him aside. So what we'll do, it just goes right back on the reverse way that we took it apart. What I'm going to do is teach you guys how to program it, how to set the master code, how to reset the master code. Oops, sorry, bumped the tripod. So we're going to set the master code. We're going to set a secondary manager code. And then I'm going to show you how to add user codes. So as you notice, I've left the instructions in the box because I'm just going to show you. I've done enough of these now to show you guys the very simple way. Reading all that, it can be confusing. Describing it's going to be confusing, but once I show you, it's very easy. I will timestamp this video at the bottom, so that way if you want to skip ahead and not hear me talk so much, you can find the part that you need. So we're going to get started. So I've went ahead and connected power to the doorknob here so I can show you guys how to program it. Now out of the box, the YL-99, every single one of these that I've come across, and I believe it's every single one that's sold, the factory preset master code is 0123 pound. You see the green light, you hear the click, you'll be able to unlock. That's how quickly, once that green light is off, this relocks itself. So if you were to run in to a property for your maintenance guy and say, hey, let me open it, and then you type in the code, he gets in. If he doesn't know the code and he leaves something in that room and closes the door, he's locked out, unless he knows the code. There is no way to leave this open. It always locks itself about 3-4 seconds after you've opened the door. Just as a side note, so you don't have anyone, in a lockout situation like that. Landlords do it a lot. They'll run in really quick on their way somewhere, say, here, now you're in, grab what you need. If they set their keys down, grab the mop or whatever, close the door, they're not getting back in. Just a little note about this lock. It's not like a deadbolt where you have to press a button for it to relock. It relocks itself. So let's say that you now know this, and everybody knows this because they watched this video, that every single one of these locks is preset to 0123 pound. We want to change it. In order to change the master code, we have to make a new one that starts with 0. For every single master code that you want to change this to, it always has to start with 0. It cannot start with 1. It cannot start with any other number other than 0. This is so the lock knows it's a master code. It's the same thing when you change, and we'll get into it later, but a manager code, it'll have to always start with 9. Master code always starts with 0. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'll explain it and then I'll show you guys so it's not so confusing. You're going to type in the factory master code while the lights are blue. And you have to be a little quick with it because the lights only stay blue for a few seconds. You're going to type in your new master code and hit the star key. So I'll change it from, right now it's 0123 pound. I'm going to change it from 0123 to 0234. To do this, you type in the original factory master code, 0123 pound, while it's green and the it up blue, you'll type in 0. Oh, I was a little bit slow, so we gotta wait. So that's pretty much how quick, like the amount of time you have. So we'll try it again. 0, 1, 2, 3 pound, and then I'm gonna hit 0, 2, 3, 4 star. You'll hear the 4 beeps, and now our factory master code has been changed. So now it's no longer 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. That won't work. Now it is 0, 2, 3, 4 pound. See, it's green, and it locks itself. So to do that one more time, we'll change it from what it is now back to our factory code. So we'll type in 0, 2, 3, 4 pound, and then we'll hit 0, 1, 2, 3 star. We hear the 4 beeps, it's green. Now we can try 0, 2, 3, 4 pound. No longer works. 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. Now it works again. That is how you set and reset the master code for this lock. So now that you know how the master code works, we're going to set a secondary, what we call a manager code. So just as an example, let's say you're the property owner of an Airbnb and you hire a property manager. You always want to, be careful because maybe they don't, work out, and you want to be able to change the codes later very easily. You don't want them to know the master code. You want them to know the, their own code that only the manager should have. That way they can override tenants, but they can't override you. Maybe, the owner and the property manager both have the master code and they have an assistant that needs a manager code. Whatever the reason, we're going to set that right now. So just like I said earlier, the concept that the master code always has to start with 0, a manager code always has to start with 9. So to change, to create a manager code, you would type in whatever your master code is. So we'll go 0, 1, 2, 3 pound, and then we'll hit 9, 6, 3, 2 star. So we just created ourselves a random manager code of 9632. So now let's see how that turns out. So we're the owner right now. We're going to use our master code of 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. It unlocks for us. So we'll let it relock. There we go. Lights are off. So now let's say the property manager shows up. He only has to type in 9632 pound. Now he can unlock it his way. Now these codes can both be used to create a new code. We're going to keep using the master code just because it's simpler and easier. But now you have 2 codes. So basically think of it as your, primary and secondary. So primary is the master, secondary is the manager. Okay, so now let's start making some user codes. So you have your master code of 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. We'll let it lock. You also have your manager code of 9632 pound. That works. Now let's say that we have a maintenance guy that has to know his own code to get into these rooms. So you want to create him a code. His code, he will be user number 1, so it's going to start with a digit 1. Similar to the master is always starting with 0. The manager is always starting with 9. The user number 1 starts with number 1. So let's just make the janitor's code 1234. To do that, we'll type in our master code here of 0, 1, 2, 3 pound, and then we'll hit 1, 2, 3, 4 star. So now, just to show you, we have our master code 0, 1, 2, 3. We'll let him lock. Lights off. 9632. Now our manager can get in on his own code. Now you call your maintenance guy, nobody's there, but he needs to get in, so he just types in 1, 2, 3, 4 pound. Now your maintenance guy is able to get in. He doesn't need to know, the tenant's code. He just knows his. Now let's say you have a maid. you don't want the maid to know the maintenance guy, his code. Everybody has their own code. So now she will be, user number 2, which means that you're going to start with digit number 2. So the same way as before, you'll type in the master code 0, 1, 2, 3 pound, and then you'll hit 2, 3, 4, 5 star. Now, just to show you, she just has to type in 2, 3, 4, 5 pound. And now your maid has an access code. The maintenance guy needs to run into the same room, 1, 2, 3, 4 pound. Now he is set up. Now, the funny thing about this lock is it basically continues. If you want a third user, their code starts with a 3, 4, 5, and so on. It's the same concept, so if that's all you have for workers, now your tenant will start with a number 3. So now you want your tenant to have a code. We'll just do it real quick, just one more time for you guys. Master code 0, 1, 2, 3 pound, 3, 4, 5, 6 star. Now our tenant's code, whenever he comes in, he will type in 3, 4, 5, 6 pound. Now your tenant can get in. Then just to show you, the maid, 2, 3, 4, 5 pound. She can get in on her own code. The maintenance guy, 1, 2, 3, 4 pound. Then you have your manager, 9632 pound. And you have your master code, obviously 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. Oh, 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. There it is. So let's say that you want to delete one code. Let's say that you no longer have the, maid that used to come over, and you don't want them to have the code anymore. Their code used to be 2, 3, 4, 5 pound. So they were user number 2. This is why it's important to remember which user is what. So your number 2 user no longer works for you. You would press your master code 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. You would hit 0, 0, 0, 0 pound, and then hit 2. Now 2, 3, 4, 5 no longer works. But your maintenance guy, he still works. And your master code still works. So that is how to delete an individual code. You, once again, will delete just one more time, we'll delete the maintenance guy, who was 1, 2, 3, 4 pound. So that means it started with a 1, so he was user number 1, which means you hit your master code 0, 1, 2, 3 pound, 0, 0, 0, 0 pound, 1. Now 1, 2, 3, 4 pound no longer works. That is how you delete individual codes. So let's say that you want to delete all of the codes except for, your master code. What you would do is, just to show you guys, the janitor is 1, 2, 3, 4 pound. He can still unlock the door. And then the maid was 2, 3, 4, 5 pound. Hers still works. So we're going to go ahead and just reset it all the way back. As long as we have the master code, 0, 1, 2, 3 pound. Hit 0 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pound. You hear one beep. Now 1, 2, 3, 4 no longer works. 2, 3, 4, 5 no longer works. The only code and your manager's code, I almost forgot about that one, no longer works. You are now back to square one at just 0, 1, 2, 3, your master code. So for some closing notes, if you need to troubleshoot this and you can't remember a code, just remember that the code cannot be less than 4 digits. So you have to always set, 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can never be just 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6. It always has to have 4 digits, and it has a maximum of 15 digits per code. which is crazy for a knob. But I mean, if you can remember a 15-digit code and you can remember 8 of them, you know, by all means go for it. But those are the closing notes that I have for this lock. So let's say that you get called out to one of these and the owner has no idea what any of the codes are. Maybe it was on a closet or, you know, some kind of room in his house that he just purchased. If you have one of these and all it is he knows the code but the knob dies, this is a battery override. You simply pop off on the bottom here, this little plastic little cork here, and you can plug this in to the bottom and you flip the switch to on and it will power up the knob. You will be able to then control it with whatever code it was. But like in our case, we're going to say that we don't know the code. We will have to slip the latch, because we're a locksmith and we don't have time to really mess with anything else. And I haven't really had much time to mess with this lock. That's why I purchased this, so I could dissect it. The ones I've messed with, I've just, shown up and the client purchased it themselves. I don't sell these. I don't recommend these to anybody. These are just what I've been coming up across. So what you do is you would basically just slip the latch because it's a knob. You don't have to worry too much about it. Just like any knob that, the cylinder's frozen up, you're just going to slip the latch. Once you are inside, you could disassemble the front of the knob. Just these 2 screws, and you would just take out the battery pack, put new AAA batteries in it, and then what you'll do once it's powered up is you can, obviously, because it's a Signstek, you can try the master code of 0123 pound. If it's been changed by the previous tenant because they were smart, all you have to do is hold this little black button right here. Let me hold it up for the camera. You hold this in until you hear 4 beeps. So there's your 4 beeps. Now every code that we have entered previously for the manager, not gonna work. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the janitor, not gonna work. 2, 3, 4, 5, not gonna work. But it will revert us back to our initial factory master code of 0123 pound. That one will work. So that is pretty much the gist of how to program this thing. All you have to do is, reset it back to factory. If you mess up a code when you're doing this, you have, your reset right here. But I just wanted to help you guys if you come across these and you need to reprogram it for somebody. If you need to delete codes and whatnot, you can just reset it and start over from the beginning. It is a quality lock for what it is. I'm not going to hate on it. It's not the worst I've seen. It's I'm just not a fan of electronic doorknobs. This is something that I would not use outside. It says it's waterproof and world-proof. I live in Southern California in the desert, so if I put this on a front door, the sun is going to cook this thing, and I wouldn't chance it. I wouldn't do it. This is something if you have like a pantry that you don't want your kids to get into, a maintenance closet, it would work for that. I would use it on like an interior if I was going to buy something like this. If I wasn't a locksmith and I was just going to purchase a random lock from Amazon. Interior wise, it could be pretty cool. I get it for short-term rentals. Wouldn't really use this as my everyday front door lock though. I hope this video helps you guys. If it does, feel free to like and subscribe. And as always, I hope you guys are staying safe and you guys all have a nice day.